Talking Guitars and More, episode 14. Hey everybody, welcome. Here we are, Talking Guitars and More, episode 14. Moving right along, man. I think every other week is a great schedule for this show. And we have a wonderful panel this evening. We're going to start bringing them in here. All right. First up, Mr. Larry Riker. There he is, ladies and gentlemen.
How we doing, everyone?
Hey, Larry. All
What's
right,
up?
man. Thank you, Larry. And also, Mr. Jimmy Biter is here. Hey.
What's up?
What's happening, man? All right. And we have, all the way from South Carolina, the German Butcher is here, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening, rock stars.
It's been a while since he's been on. And returning once again, new friend with the show, Mr. Ted Fair, all the way from the West Coast.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Thank y'all, everybody, for being here. I really appreciate that, man. It's awesome. We're looking forward to a great show. We want to have a little bit of live performing as well, and that's going to be really fun. Let me jump over here to the comments just in case. All right, we got R2. What's going on, R2? What is happening? And Jimmy Piter comments as well. What is that he put? What kind of emoji is that, R2? I can't figure that out.
He's either slamming beer or slamming coffee.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't make it out just yet.
I can't
But
either.
anyway.
Not even with glasses. We'll just pretend it's beer.
Yeah, speaking of glasses, man, I've been having to wear glasses since I was in third grade. Yeah. Didn't have to start wearing them all the time until I got out of high school. But, man, as I got older, my eyes got worse.
I don't remember you ever not wearing glasses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for people that don't know, Ralph and I, we've known each other practically our whole lives and went to school together and all that stuff. So,
Right on.
yeah, if anybody would know, he would know. Yeah, so.
And your glasses got consistently thicker through the years.
They did, man. Yeah, as I've gotten older, the old eyes have gotten weaker. So
I've just started having to wear them like not even 2 years.
Yeah, I'm fixing to have to start wearing them myself.
Gone through, busted maybe 50 pairs already.
oh no.
Yeah, see, Joe
'cause-
grew up wearing glasses, so he knows how to take care of them. If I have to start wearing them now, I'm going to break them like a son of a bitch. I'm going to sit on them. I'm going to lose them. So,
Yeah. Well, right now I only need them for the close-up stuff for 24-inch.
that's true.
Yeah.
Me too.
Distance, and then I have to take them off, and it's that taking them off, and it's like, okay, and then they're falling on the floor, I'm stepping on them.
Oh my God.
Let me guess, you're in your 50s.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah,
all are.
well,
here on
all
this-
of us.
on this
Yes.
one. Yeah, I think so.
This computer, phone, staring at computer stuff, the blue light is horrendous for your vision.
It is. Yeah, it is. It does not help. Yeah. I've when you especially me getting these glasses, man, I think I've dished out $700 for these glasses
Holy
about
cow.
2 or 3 years ago, because it was like got to have the bifocals on there, and they make it where you can't see the bifocals and all this stuff, man. And it's just little things here and there that add up. And that was at Lens Crafters, and I said, you know what? I'm not going back there. I just go to Walmart Vision Center. I mean, that's what I used to always do.
Right.
So Andrew Knox, what's up, man? He says, hopping in to say, hey, dudes, have a great show. Hashtag halftime. That's right. What's up, man?
It's cool because it's what the lady on StreamYard's saying to me.
It's the
Have a great show.
yeah.
Shut up, lady.
We need to do the speakers, the test
Yeah,
speakers.
the test.
Yeah. I can't stand that. It's so generic. And I was like, okay, they couldn't have picked something else, man. Oh man, testing the
Yeah.
speakers. Yeah.
I
Now you're going to be
finally
singing
got
it all
these,
night.
I finally got these closed. They're like a closed, isolated speaker or headphone.
Yeah.
And if you don't have your ear kind of pulled out, you can't hear yourself talk. So my wife was watching the live stream a couple of weeks ago, and they said it sounded like I was some old deaf guy yelling, on the on the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I know what you mean, man. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, things definitely get interesting and crazy the older we get, doesn't it, gentlemen? Yeah. I'm telling you.
Yes.
I've had people tell me it's like once you start getting older, the life is run by your butthole.
I know, man. It's like
Seriously.
Oh, no. Oh, golly, man. We're waiting on everybody to jump in here. We got Mr. Michael Sullivan. Hey, man. Lord of mercy. Full-time Coke bottles since second grade for him, and on the doorstep of 60. I understand, Mr. Sullivan. Really do.
Coke bottles.
Oh, my God. That's what same here. Coke bottles. Mr. Mark Tanner. Hey, man. How are you? All right. Mr. Mick is in the chat. Hey, Mr. Mick. He says, hi, everyone. Hey, R2R3 Lock and Nut. And, yeah, I sent a couple extra invites out to a couple of people that I could think of off the top of my head, and if they could come, if they can jump in, they can. If not, that's no problem. I just because they were kind of like, I don't know if we can make it. I was like, well, here's an invite just in case, So those people know who they are. So if they can, that's wonderful. If they can't, not a problem. Like to have fun over here, man. There's no strict guidelines or nothing. Just, as long as people have common sense and don't do nothing crazy.
You're asking a lot, Joe.
Wow.
Let's tear something up. Yeah. I'm going to get this flamethrower. Holy moly. But yeah, I'm going to catch everybody up here in the community and here on the panel as well. I did a part 1 and part 2 of Will Sweetwater Do the Right Thing this past week. And if you haven't seen that, if you're new to the channel, go back and watch that. It's interesting to say the least. But Sweetwater did do the right thing, and that was great. And so my only debacle that was left was the pickup truck issue with Big Blue. And I was like, man, oh, God, I don't know. Do I spend the money for an engine? Then you got to spend money to have it put in. And there's no telling how long the truck's going to be in a shop somewhere. So really, I couldn't afford that. So I went looking on Facebook Marketplace for a couple of nights in a row. And I don't know. That was my first time looking for something like that on Facebook Marketplace. So I was introduced to the whole world of crap people
the whole nightmare
for sale on there for pickup trucks. I was like, are you kidding me, man? I mean, they're wanting the ones that I saw. I was just looking for a small pickup truck 'cause I'll never be able to have a big one like that, not anytime in the future. But and I was looking at like S10s or Rangers or whatever, and these trucks were like 2001, 2002. They had like 300,000 miles, and these people are wanting $8,000 for these trucks.
For that many miles,
and they
crazy.
looked horrible, man. They were all rusted and crusty, and I was like, "Are these people serious?" And it's in their backyard, and there's grass growing up, and
So that means more. Yeah. It's no.
Yeah, and I was like, no. I was like, no, thank you.
$8,000 will put an engine in your truck.
And I know, yeah. And I was like, wait a minute. So the first night I struck out. The second night, right before I went to sleep, I was scrolling and I come across this little red Ford Ranger. Now, in my life, in my younger years, I've owned a couple of Ford Rangers, and I liked them. They were good little trucks. And so I found this individual on Marketplace, and we worked out a deal, and we met him, and I got it. So I was able to get a 2008 red, I call it Little Red. Little Red is what I named it. And
you went from Big Blue to Little Red.
Little Red, yeah, one extreme to the other. Wow, man, kind of like life. Yeah, man. But so whoever had it took care of it. You know, it just needs a little TLC. There's no damage on it or nothing like that. It's just, you know, but yeah, man, it's got a little toolbox on it. So, you know, I filled it up. What was it yesterday? Day before yesterday, I filled it up. It was $34. I was like, wow, man, that's nice. But it's, yeah, I remember having the Rangers in the past, and so it does fine. So yeah, man, it's great. So we finally got over those hurdles. Thank the Lord, man. Golly.
Nice.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
Michael Sullivan, he says, make Sweetwater pay for their truck also. Oh, my God. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Mr.
right?
Sullivan. I like that, man.
I mean,
like
even up here, because I have a company truck that I drive, but my regular truck is a '98 Dodge Dakota, and it's a nice truck. And it ended up dropping a valve seat broke, and then it fell into the piston and ruined the cylinder walls to the point where it couldn't be overboard. So I paid to have a new engine put in it. It took 6 months just to get the engine. So remember, this was during the
COVID.
COOF. And so it took 6 months to get the motor, and then it took my mechanic. It took him a day to once he got it to put it back together. And it's like,
wow.
but it was still $8,000. But I do have a 4-year warranty on the motor, and
Yeah, that's good.
okay, all new belts, hoses, anything else, gaskets and all that
You'll
stuff.
get double the life out of that vehicle now.
So
That's good, man. That's awesome.
but yeah, it was like
Wow.
it was just like I was like 6 months to get to wait for an engine, and this was and I got the motor from Jasper's Racing Engines, and of course, and I've had good luck with Jasper's in the past. When when I was younger, I was into the drag racing thing, and purchased a few motors from Jasper's, and of course they when they do a reman on a motor. Of course, this is just the 318 or the 5.2. Dodge is they go through and whatever problems that showed up in the run of a particular engine is they go through and they fix that, and then they give you it's like options. If I want a camshaft or you want different heads or stuff like that. So I didn't want to go overboard, because you do too much and then you're having to reflash your engine management computer. So I just upped the compression ratio a little bit and had them put in rocker arms with a slightly bigger ratio to them.
Wow.
Just enough so that it wouldn't mess with with the regular engine management.
Very interesting, man. I'm glad you got that straightened out.
But took forever, and it was still $8,000.
Wow.
Wow.
We have an interesting question I'd like to present to y'all. Very interesting. I like it. Mr. Mick says, Joe, I have a question for your panel tonight. Do you prefer modelers or tube amps, and why? Let's go with Larry first. Larry, what's your answer to that question, sir?
I think I like tube amps because that's what I already have.
Okay.
I don't have anything against modelers, but I think modelers. I don't know, if I lived in an apartment or something where I had to wear headphones.
Yeah.
Computer stuff is great, and I guess if you tour, taking that little box out with you is more convenient. But I already have amps, so.
Now, have you ever used a like a modeler or a guitar thing like a head rush or something? Have you ever messed with anything like that in the past? And
just the
effects processors, I should say.
Just the plugins on my computer.
Okay.
Honestly, I haven't really I have no need for them.
Right.
I looked at the I can't think of the name off the top of my head.
Helix?
Quad Cortex.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was all. I think Quad Cortex was it? It wasn't before Helix. I don't know. It's one of the second round of those that came out, I would say.
Yeah.
I always liked that. I always liked that interface on that one. I was interested in that one, but they're $1,600. So,
wow.
If I already have, I have a 5150 amp. So why? I don't know. I haven't really been into buying more gear.
Yeah.
Trying to.
Well, you like what you got, and it works for you. That's
that's what
it's all about. You know.
I look at stuff and I go to buy it, and I'm like, do I really?
See, you don't. I do not have that discipline, man.
I didn't.
Like,
I didn't
do
used
need
to.
It? No, but I'm going to get it anyway. You know.
I didn't used to. I really didn't used to have it. I would just I got to get it.
Right.
But then I find I don't use half of it. So
yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm kind of getting there. I'm getting there. All right, let's move over to Mr. Biter. I think I know the answer, but I'm interested to hear what he has to say. Mr. Biter,
Well,
do you prefer modelers, tube amps? What do you think?
I used to be the tube amp snob,
Okay.
and once getting into this live streaming and doing all stuff of of this is the modeler thing kind of was like, okay, I get it. So basically it's when I want to play loud, it's tube amp, and when I want to be quiet, I don't really use modelers because I got this synergy stuff, and it's got direct out on there, so that I mean technically it's all tube, snob being a snob. But I mean I get it, and the stuff, the modelers do sound good. I can't really fault it. Where I just kind of start fading out is I have really bad option paralysis. There's too many options, and it's like, I just really want to play the guitar. I don't want to sit here and go through this. I tried it once, and I was just like, okay, it's too much. I just want to turn some knobs and start playing.
Yep, I like that too.
The synergy stuff allows me to do that.
That's awesome.
I use my regular
I'm
pedal
definitely
board.
going to look into that down the road, man, because, man, it sounds great. Man.
And I've resisted buying other modules. I have 3 modules. I have my BEBB module, which is basically the Bucks and Betty and the Brown Eye.
Yeah.
And then I have my SLO module.
Okay.
And then I have the Plexi module. And
wow,
I'm still sitting on the Plexi module. I maybe have used it for a total of an hour. Wow. It sounds good, but what I was shooting for was, I wanted 4 channels. I want clean, overdriven, lead, and then all out. Mm-hmm. And these 2 modules just kind of fill that for me. And, I've listened to other modules and all that, and it's like, I'm not hearing anything that really stands out, because basically with EQ is I can do the rest of that.
Right. Yeah.
So I've been extremely happy with the 2 modules that I have. Now, are there like way more options and effects and all that with the modeling? Yep, you betcha. It's like, but my impatient ass just doesn't want to make time for it. It's like, and basically all I would end up doing is, this is what happened when I did try the modeling thing, was I just replicated what I was already using from the synergy stuff. I just went to that same thing, and it's like, okay, this was pretty pointless on my behalf.
I've been there. Same exact thing. Let me move over to the German Butcher and let him answer. What do you prefer, my friend?
All right, you're going
Guitar
to
effects processors or tube amps?
I'm going to show my ignorance here. I've never heard that term modeling before, ever. That's the first time I've heard it.
It's really like a fancy guitar effects processor. Really, it's just a high dollar kind of deal.
Gotcha. And as far as a tube amp, I've never had an actual tube amp till me and Joe went on our Guitar Center adventure. Now I've got that that PV stack over there, and of course the the head doesn't work. It needs to be fixed.
Right.
But as far as playing on a regular basis, I use a GT. What is my Boss GT1? Running it through my
Yeah.
my DAW.
Right.
I can't even remember the last time I turned an amp on. Because
Yeah.
I can just hook up my Bluetooth speaker, turn my computer on, and
You're
I'm
ready to
good.
go.
And I'm ready to go.
It's
And
very convenient.
I mean,
Sure
I know
is.
there's so many options that you could mess with, and I'm like most of the other guys. I just want to, when I'm ready to play, I'm ready to pick up my guitar and play.
Absolutely.
I don't want to sit there and start fucking with effects. And I know what I like. I got like 5 settings I love.
Right.
Those are my go-tos. I'm not going
Right.
to sit there. Well, let me tweak this. No, I'm ready to play.
Yeah.
So
I understand
modeling,
that
that's a
totally.
word for me. Never heard it.
There you go. All right, let's move over to Mr. Fair and see what his response is. Mr. Fair, you're up.
Yeah, I would just say I like them both, but both of them, when you play them, they seem to inspire me differently. Like for me, if you would go over to a room here in my clinic adjacent, I've got about 25 different types of tube amps sitting in the room.
Good.
Yeah, I know. I have a problem.
What?
But basically, there's nothing like just a tube amp. It's very organic, and it just the way it pushes the air through the room. And I can either, run that amp with a mic and run it into my Electro Voice PA. So I can mix, the bass, drums, keyboards, vocals, everything through that Electro Voice PA system. It just melts your face off. I love the tube amp. Lately, about 2 months ago, I got the Friedman IRX, which is kind of a hybrid between the two. It's a preamp with 12 AX7s, and it has the digital side, which is the cabinet impulse response. And I was running that today through my EV PA system, and it just sounded amazing. It's kind of got the best of both worlds. It's simple. It's got kind of a tube amp feel to it. You don't have to have a computer science degree, to go through the modelers type thing and program everything. But your son did convince me to pull the trigger on the Line 6 Helix. I haven't set it up yet, but I've got it in the other room, and
Nice.
I have a little bit of free time. I'm going to mess with it. But I mean, as long as they're still making tube amps and you can find tubes, I'm gonna wear that like a badge of honor. I just think tubes, just the way they sound, just organic. It just inspires me to play differently.
Nice. I like that. Yeah, I like to do both. I just don't really have the chance to crank up the tube amp in here. It's just. Believe me, I want to, but
Everybody right now, stop what you're doing. Go turn on your tube amp.
Yeah,
That's how everybody play.
Yeah, it'll be. R2R3 comments in the chat with his opinion. He goes, "I love tube amps for playing and feel the Friedman IRX when I play live on YouTube." There you go. Yeah, and that's what I'm
with
like
R2, R3.
Yeah, when I'm sitting here just practicing before I go to work, I'll turn on I'll go through the Marshall over here, or I'll go through the Peavey, one or the other. If I just want a quick messing around, just get the muscle memory going, and whatever. But yeah, that's great, man. Let's see. Michael Sullivan says, "What will become of Big Blue? Big Blue will be sold when whoever comes up with the money. I'm going to sell Big Blue, and they can part it out. They can get the parts off of it or whatever they need to do.
It's got new tires on it too.
It's got brand new tires on it. Yeah,
$6,000 on Facebook Marketplace.
no. Yeah, be like,
You're sitting on a gold mine, Joe.
I'll take 21,000. No, but yeah. So it's
We'll trade for tube amp.
yeah. Yeah. We'll trade for the whatever. What is it you got? Roadcaster. We'll trade for a Roadcaster. Nobody around here has no idea what that is. What? No idea what that is. Let's see. Let's see, man. R2 says he'll be back. He's got some dinner cooking. Alrighty, sir. Let's see. Set up by Marshall in the chat. Hey, man, he says, I haven't seen the German Butcher since I left the
Metalhead
Hippie show. Okay.
What up, Marshall?
Hey, man, how you doing? Thank you for being in here. Appreciate that. Thanks for taking the time to participate, man. Really appreciate that.
He's a great guitar player.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's great. Is Big Blue a dually? No, sir. No, it's not. It's just a two-wheel drive, man. Let's see. Set up by Marshall. He says, I do the same thing as Ryan on my channel. You'll have to stop in someday. Okay. Cool deal. Cool deal. Oh, man. Yeah, for me, like I said, I love using the Headrush Prime. My friend Ron got me interested in that. And, yeah, I'm all about convenience, too. Especially when if I try to play live on air or try to record or something like that, it's just really simple and it's nice. And things have come a long way with all this digital stuff to where you can really get some good tones, really get some good stuff. And, yeah. Mitch Heyman, hey, how are you, man?
What's up, Mitch?
Thank you for being here, man.
What's up, Mitch?
Yeah. So,
Lord of mercy.
So last weekend is,
All right.
because I'm playing all this, trying to play all this music.
Yeah.
And, you go through and you search YouTube or, or karaoke version or wherever you're going to find backing tracks, right?
Yes.
And the songs that I want to play, either there are no backing tracks or there are really crappy backing tracks.
Right.
The singing's awful. Yeah.
Yep.
Some of them, yeah.
And I mean, even like the song that I played here in the green room is there was only one backing track. And through the course of the track, sometimes the bass line would disappear or there'd just be weird noises. And I was like, and I fought with it, trying to, to make something out of it. And finally the previous Friday night, as I finally was like, all right, I'm sick of this crap. And so I purchased, Rip X DAW.
Okay.
So what Rip X is, it's a program, is you download a song into the program, it analyzes it, and then you can strip out whatever out of the song. You can take the vocals out, you can take the drums out, you can take the guitar out, you can take the bass out, or keyboards or whatever.
With the original track.
Of the original track.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
And then, so there's two versions. I got the, I paid $100 for the Rip X DAW. Now there's a bigger version that's a little bit more in depth, and it had a bunch of stuff that I was never going to use. All I wanted was to strip basically the guitar out of songs.
That's great.
And
man.
maybe
I'm
vocals
interested
if I
in
want to
that.
horrify somebody with me singing. But you can go back, but it has all these options. You can go back through the song because when you take all the guitars out, it takes all the guitars out. But sometimes you need like rhythm guitar in the back.
Yeah.
Under a solo or little runs there, you kind of want that, rhythm guitar still there just to, to keep everything sounding good. So I just went with this particular track because I just went back and through the solo part, just played the rhythm and just kind of filled it in where it needed. I did forget one part that I ended up realizing because my attention span is about the size of a small salad bar.
I haven't heard that.
That's funny, man.
But so I was just like, I had to force myself to sit down and learn how to use it, and it was once every. You click on as you put your mouse over whatever part of the program, is it down in the corner? It tells you what everything does. But you can add stuff back in. You can change pitch. It's got way more. Even the basic program has way more stuff than I'll ever use.
So for $100 investment, you can
now
play
I can
along
basically
with all
just
your favorite original tracks.
Yep.
Man. Wow.
One thing that frustrates me with playing to a lot of older tracks is when they were recorded in like on analog tape, they're not in standard tuning or they're not in E flat. They're kind of a quarter.
Yeah.
So you got to really monkey with it. So I just went to a subscription with unlimited, like studio quality backing tracks that I can cut vocals out or all the guitars out, leave the bass, and it's all adjustable like a mixer in there. So
wow. Okay.
$20. I mean, that's just give up one of your pizzas a month and you're good.
Yeah, I stick with. I've used karaoke version for a number of years, and I get the custom tracks, and I can do like what Jimmy was saying. I can leave the rhythm guitar in the background, but I can cut it down to 70% volume. For me, it's just simpler that way.
And most of the time, that karaoke version is really good. But I mean, me and Joe have done. I can't even count how many songs from karaoke version. I don't even know. And a lot of them are good. Mm-hmm. Some are not so good, but we do them anyway. I mean, and my mind automatically goes to a Creed song. The singing on this. I had my son. My son was texting me after I re-released this video. My son, even my wife, the singing is awful on this. Who is that? I don't know who's singing. I don't know.
We're just not musicians. Creed. We don't know.
It's not Creed. The music's good. The singing is horrendous. But I've been pretty happy for the most part with all of them.
Yeah, I like to listen to them, because you can sample them before you buy them, and that's the first thing I listen is the vocals and the, how close could they get to the original production from that, whether it's from the 80s or whatever, and for the most part they're pretty good. But yeah, I remember one time there was an 80s song that I wanted to do so bad I couldn't find it nowhere else, but it was on karaoke version, and the singing was awful. And I said, well, maybe it's just me, so I bought it anyway, and then played along with it. And I listened back to it a couple days later and said, I was right. That guy's horrible. Why'd they even get him in there to sing that? I mean, I was like, damn, they could have got somebody. What song was it? Do you remember? Yeah, I know it's going to be embarrassing, but I'm going to tell you, it was called "Love Somebody" by Rick Springfield. You better love somebody. I love that song. And the guy singing sounded like a bad country dude that was drunk at a bar. And it was just, you better love somebody. Whoa! I was like, God almighty. It was horrible, man. And I was like, damn, are you serious? They actually recorded that? But, and I was like, that was a waste of $2.99. Man, so, but, yeah. So, but I enjoy karaoke version. To me, I can just get the track. I can customize each instrument to what I want, and then boom, and then I can just go ahead and it, just like with the modelers and tube amps, it just works for me, But speaking of playing and modulars and stuff, I think Jimmy, are you okay to play right now? Are you comfortable with doing that, or?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
We're going to have Jimmy Biter, folks, going to play us a tune here. Take it away, sir.
He's logging on the karaoke version.
Yeah. Secretly.
Yeah. Rick Springfield.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
No, wait a minute. No. Don't get started without me, you bastard.
All right, here we go.
All righty. Here we go.
Accidents happen.
Wow. Man.
There you have it. It's time for a new strap.
Dude, that was awesome, man.
Man, you nailed that Lynch tone. That was great.
That was good.
That's awesome, dude.
That was awesome, man.
Well, as I said, you know, with I have a Behringer Pro Q 2000 parametric EQ, and it's basically a copy of a Furman PEQ 3 or 4, and then I have 2 EQ pedals on my pedal board.
Right.
And so, I mean, it makes it pretty easy just to EQ a certain tone. Is it 100%? Nope, but it's close enough.
That's right. That's right.
To make it passable.
Now,
Yeah, I have a question for Jimmy on that.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so as far as just your backing track, are you running that into just like a powered speaker, just live in the room like that, or is that going into like a DAW or something?
So basically, I have two options. Is I can take a completed backing track, and I can download it into my Rodecaster onto one of the pads and just hit the pads, or I can put it into my phone or play it off the computer. But I like putting it on my phone and then running it into an input on the Rodecaster, because then I can EQ the track a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
So I tend to do that, and then I can just have the tracks on a different device,
right?
And then I can send them to people or text the whatever. And so I'm having better luck just running it on my phone and doing an input, and then just being able to EQ it and making it sound better.
That's
through
what I
the
do
EQ on the Rodecaster.
That's what I do with my MP3 player with the mixer. I get it running into the mixer, and I can kind of EQ it on the mixer side of things instead of going straight to the interface. But see, with what you have, Jimmy, if I'm not mistaken, it does not involve a DAW. Is that correct?
Nope. Basically, the only DAW-ish thing is the RipX program to actually make the backing track. I'm not using it in any way, shape, or form.
As far as the Rodecaster, there's no DAW involved. Correct?
Nope. It just plugs right into the computer, and I mean the thing is super easy to set up. It's got a setup wizard when you first turn it on. And then it takes you through all the steps, and then I mean it gets you rolling, and then you can get on the Rode website or go to YouTube videos and just kind of get all the other details. I mean, for the sake of keeping it simple, right. for my sanity's sake, is everything's just basically the minimum to make it happen.
Right.
So what are you using to get your tone, your dirty tone? Are you using a little effects processor that goes into the Rodecaster?
Nope, it's just I'm just going direct out of my Synergy preamp.
Oh, that's right. This Synergy, I forgot about that.
Then what about your backing track? Is that just coming out of like your computer speakers, or is that?
Nope, that's going right in. It's coming out of my phone into an input in the Rodecaster.
Gotcha.
And then everything is because I go through and Joe and I discussed this before is I'll get on StreamYards, do a private YouTube live stream,
right, and then just because I must have done this I don't know, probably 50 times. yeah,
which is making a private live stream just adjust the settings until. Yeah. Yep, until everything is cool, and then
test runs.
Then I just remember where the settings were, and then just go with it, and then just keep. And I take pictures of the settings on the Rodecaster.
Yeah.
So that if I want to play the song, is okay. Here's where everything was set at. Here's the gain levels and all that, and then everything else I've got. I don't know if you can tell that it's stereo or not on there, but I'm running stereo. All my effects pedals are in the loop are stereo now.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm panning not quite 100% because I don't really like the sound of 100% panned left and right.
Yeah, I don't either.
So I'm like at maybe like 88%.
Yeah.
Makes it sound just a little bit wider. Something's happening when you go full 100. It's like it's doing something to the guitar tone. It's like rounding it off, and it's just not. It doesn't sound pleasant. So if you just back it off, to 80, around 85%, somewhere in there, it seems to keep your guitar sound. Yeah. And then I have options to EQ it on the Rodecaster, and because I also have in my rack here is the Aphex 104C, which has been around since the late 80s. Mm-hmm. And that took the place of, I used to have a BBE Sonic Maximizer.
Right.
And I found that, and immediately was like, oh, well, this Aphex is way better. Well, that Aphex is also in the Rodecaster. So you got the Aphex, the EQ, there's noise gates, so you got all this stuff that you can do in the Rodecaster itself.
Nice, man.
But for the sake of keeping it simple, I'm just using the Rodecaster to pan left and right, a small amount of EQ, and let's see, let's kind of go through all of our processing here. So we
it blows my mind that his
high pass filter.
That's crazy.
A de-esser for microphones and for talking, noise gate, compressor, an equalizer, and the Aphex 104, and then your panning, and so you can go in, you can turn it off and on. I mean, so there's all kinds of stuff to be to be done. There's you've got 4 XLR inputs, 4 headphones out. You can plug your phone in. That uses a TRS plug so that you can do phone calls over live stream and be able to talk back and forth on your phone.
Now, is your mic running through that too right now?
Yep. Okay. Everything's going into the Rodecaster, and then it's just going out. Now, technically, Rode told me that I wasn't going to be able to use the Rodecaster with my laptop because my laptop is an older Samsung Note 10 that I had upgraded with it. It's like a 2 gig solid state hard drive and blah blah, all this stuff. It's all Greek to me. I just told the guy, just upgrade it. I don't want you to tell me what you're doing. Just do the stuff.
Just make it work.
But it doesn't have a USB-C input. So Rode claims that I'm not supposed to be able to use to plug, just take a regular data cable and go USB-C to USB-A and expect it to work, but somehow it's working.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm just like, okay, I'm just not touching it because, I'm not ready to buy a new computer just right now.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah. So how many inputs is on the Rodecaster? Are available?
So there's 4 XLRs, and it's a combo. It's an XLR, and you can put a quarter inch.
Okay.
Into it.
Nice.
And then you have the phone input, and then there's 3 or 4 more inputs on it. There's Bluetooth. I'll have to remember what all the rest of them are, but there's other inputs that you can use that don't have a physical input.
Yeah.
On the back of the unit.
Ralph, did you have a question?
Yeah. Joe, you seem like you're asking questions because you're fixing to make a purchase.
No. I'm just asking because I'm not familiar with that product. Yeah, okay. I just.
It seems killer. No. The sound.
Oh, it sounds amazing. One. Yeah, it sounds amazing. I've asked Jimmy about it before.
Has something to do with it, but.
Yeah. And then you have these 8 pads to the side that you download. Crickets, or there's stuff, or there's voice, the voice modulation.
You can do this kind of crap.
I do like that.
Or you can download. You can take you can take your backing track, and you can assign it to one of the pads, so you can just go through here into the banks, and then I can just hit the pad, and the backing track will just start playing.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which I haven't really gotten to yet. And I tried once, and I think what my problem is since I have the older computer and it's actually sending, the computer and the Rodecaster are actually talking to each other. But when I get onto the Rode website and try to get on their app to be able, because there's an app that you can get in and you can change stuff and designate all the pads and all this, is my computer won't talk to the Rodecaster in that manner. So that would be basically the only reason that I would get the new computer, would be able to do that. But at this point, I'm not really seeing the need, because I'm just putting all the backing tracks onto my phone and then just...
Yeah, that's what I would do.
And then just run them into there, because, like I said, not really ready to, that new computer purchase quite yet.
That's interesting. Those things run about, what, $600, I guess?
Well, you can find them used right now I got mine for $500 used.
Oh, okay.
But brand new, they're $800.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I had to Google one time when Jimmy and I was talking about it, I Googled it because I didn't know what it looked like. And then when I saw it, I said, oh, I've seen that before, because there's a guy on YouTube I watch. He's a younger guy, and he plays a lot of live stuff on these different websites for people, and it's a younger crowd, but at least he's playing the kind of music we all like. And I noticed he had that thing on the side and had all the square buttons that were lit up, and I said, what is he using? And then I figured it has to be the Rodecaster. It's got to be.
There's a couple of brands.
Yeah, Mackie has one.
Tascam has one.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. I thought it was just from.
I think Rode is the go-to. I think that's the name that has this category in my mind.
Yeah, I think they're pretty much the first ones to really come out with this type of unit.
They
had. This is the second. I have the second. This is the Rodecaster Pro 2. And there's a couple slight differences between the first version and the second version, but I think you would probably have good luck with the first version. I don't think anything that's not on the first version is gonna break the deal for you. I think you'd end up with the same result. I mean, I'm just using it in a minimalistic fashion, which would
Joe, if you don't mind me asking, Jimmy,
Sure.
do you have another song? Because that last one, the tone was amazing. You have another song?
Yeah, but I'm not.
You're not ready?
Not really set up for that because I'm
I
kind of
understand.
in the transferring everything over. I'm still working on
Sure.
other backing tracks that I wasn't happy with, and getting all the songs that I have done, and trying to accumulate my list of stuff here. So, and I'll eventually get it. It's just that whole having to pay bills thing, and keeps me going back to my awful
Yeah,
job.
that gets us all.
No, I love my job. Those bastards.
They might be listening, right?
Right.
I doubt it if it's this channel. Ain't nobody listening. So.
So yeah, eventually I'll get my all the songs that that I want to play. I've got a huge list that I'm just working through. From everything from Corrosion of Conformity, Soundgarden, Dokken, Lynch Mob.
Get your set list set up there. Yeah.
The Scream. Have you guys ever heard of the band called The Scream?
I have not.
Okay, so the band The Scream, the album is called Let It Scream, came out in 1991, features John Corabi on vocals, and Bruce Boulier, who of everybody knows him from Racer X,
Racer X,
Oh,
yeah.
came in, and so if there was an album for me to recommend from that time period, kind of like it's like right when Nirvana punched everybody in the dick. As far is this album. I was so upset that John Corabi decided to go to Motley Crue because The Scream that album is so freaking good, guys. You have to listen to it. Mm-hmm. Now it's not for some reason it's not on Spotify. It's not on any platform. Mm-hmm. Is the only place you can find it is YouTube.
Wow.
And I don't know why it's not on Spotify or any of those other, iTunes. Maybe somebody checked to see if it's on iTunes. I've never checked because I'm not an Apple guy.
Me neither.
But if it's on there, you got to listen to the album because it's amazing. That CD lives in my truck. It's been the only CD that's been in my CD player in my truck for years.
Right.
I mean, it's got Rocket, Balls to the Wall song, and then of course John Corabi, he's a great acoustic player. That's basically what he's doing right now, is just touring, just doing acoustic gigs on there. So you got a great mix of good rockin' songs, and then and awesome acoustic songs. And Bruce Boulier on there is just kicking ass on that whole album. He's really dialed back. It's not Racer X type stuff where it's just. He's got great bluesy. It's like a heavy blues album.
Gotcha.
Wow.
I don't know if you guys have been listening to kind of the Reformation of Dio, but the band Last in Line. I can't recommend that band enough. Just they have 3 albums out, but they cover a lot of Ronnie James Dio. So they have Vivian Campbell on guitar, Vinny Appice on drums, Phil Suzanne on bass. He was a bass player on Bark at the Moon and a couple of Ozzy albums, but they just sound incredible. I went and saw them in L.A. at the Whiskey A Go-Go. But just incredible band. And Vivian just shreds. I think him being in Def Leppard, I love Def Leppard, but he's playing second fiddle, in there. And he's just an amazing guitar player.
Yeah.
I've heard that. I've actually seen I think a video of that, and Vivian Campbell was playing. Wasn't he the original guitar player in Dio? Or
I think so.
Yes.
He was there early on, at least. I know.
Early on when Ronnie left Heaven and Hell with Black Sabbath. It was Yeah, it was Vivian Campbell, and it's just he's just an incredible guitar player. And unfortunately, I read that he's having a hard time battling lymphoma. I guess he kind of beat it for 10 years, or it was in remission, and he's kind of having some health issues. So I'm trying to just see as many of these, rock stars before they can't, they're too ill or they pass on. But I would highly recommend listening to him. He's just an amazing. That band is incredible. Their new stuff rivals the stuff from the 80s. It's just that
great.
Cool.
Wow, that's awesome, man. I didn't know that Vivian Campbell was the guitar player of that.
Yep, he's the one who got that whole thing rolling.
I didn't know that. Wow, dang. Because now this is what I've heard on different things through the years with social media, but who knows if this is true. But didn't him and Ronnie James Dio had like some kind of major falling out or something, and that's why he left Dio or something?
Dio wasn't paying them.
Yeah.
So they were getting, a couple $100, for a stadium tour for a night.
Stadium tour? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they were. I had heard an interview that they were, all the members were getting, a couple $100 a show, and they just got to a point where they were, basically, struggling just to pay the basic bills, so they had to kind of bounce and get out of there. So,
dang, man. Good.
I mean, did Vivian Campbell? Did he not help write some of those songs?
Oh yeah,
he did. Oh yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and you could have the same argument with like what is that song? Not Bark at the Moon, but the other
Jakey
one.
Lee.
Jakey Lee. He's got some. He's got a fight with Ozzy, don't he?
Yeah, I remember hearing his interview on Eddie Trunk show. I don't know, a few years ago or so, where he said he wrote all that stuff and didn't get nothing out of it.
That's Sharon's fault.
Yeah, he said you can either be in the band or get a piece of action, and we'll get another guitar player or something. I was like, man, they screwed him over bad, man.
Yeah.
They screwed him over really bad.
I don't know why they can't just keep it simple, like Rush basically splits everything, or when they were a band, split it. Here's a third for you, a third for you, a third for you. I don't know why people just get greedy,
Yeah. I think in Rush's case, it was more as, these guys were probably all friends and, come to an understanding beforehand. And it's like, I'm Ronnie James Dio and I'm the shit. So you guys just stand behind me.
The band is named after me. Yeah. You're just hired guns. That's all you are.
Yeah.
Cheaply hired guns.
Yeah. Golly, can you imagine finally reaching your dream and being on that kind of stage and performances and only making a couple $100?
You can do better than that working at the Dollar General.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at all these guys from back then, they were just, 18, 19 years old,
kids,
completely green, knowing nothing about the world.
They were just happy to be there. Yeah.
Yep. And they're like, oh, I get to play the guitar in front of thousands of people. And then, going into it, not realizing that there's all this red tape and crap that
absolutely
that's going on. And they're just, they were just set up to get screwed.
I tell you that when it really dawned on me about what you're saying, Jimmy, is with the, yes, I agree 100%. When you're young like that, you don't know what's going on. You're just happy to do it. But as I've gotten older here, and I've, you see certain, guitar players, and they'll be like, yeah, I'm doing lessons on Zoom or something. And I was like, what? I was like, dude, you was on tour for years. And, but I don't, like I say, I don't know all that. I don't know that world. I just see it from the outside. And then it was like Oz Fox, one of the great guitarists of Stryper, was still giving guitar lessons in this small little music store not that long ago. And I was like, well, what? So it just blew my mind. And I
think in this day and age, a lot of those guys have to have multiple revenue streams.
Yeah.
I went for a while and was getting a few guitar lessons from one of the guitar players from Queensryche, and I lived up in Washington State. And I'm just thinking to myself, this was the guy that, was selling out stadiums and stuff in the late
Exactly.
80s, early 90s. And here he is, giving me a guitar lesson. I'm not going to say it was inexpensive. I think he was charging about $50 an hour, but still, I guess, they got to have so many revenue streams because of, what record sales and everything are these days. It's kind of destroyed
absolutely.
itself. Yeah.
Non-existent.
Absolutely.
Right.
Let me ask y'all, that's a good segue. I want to ask y'all, have any of y'all actually just went into whatever music store ever and took lessons? Is that something you still think is valuable today, or are you just comfortable just trying to stay? Like for me, I'll go first. For me, I'm just like, number one, I don't have time. I know you can do it online and all that stuff, but I don't have the discipline to sit there and okay, we're going to do this right here. And it's like, it's just, even when I watch something on YouTube, watching how to do a solo or a song and it's down, 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 down. Okay, now do that again. Down, down. I'm like, damn, can we just play the song? But it's just, and I'm like, damn. So as far as going to do lessons and all, no. But that has really worked against me as I've gotten older. I see, because there's just some things I just can't do, but it's just the way I've taught myself. So anyway, I'll go to Larry. Larry, what do you think? Do you think lessons are still a good thing to do now after you've been playing all this time, or are you just comfortable where you're at? I don't know. What's your opinion?
I think they can make you accountable so that you show up every week, and if you have a good
So does
teacher,
work.
yeah. If you have a good teacher, I mean, yeah. I think that's the key. If they can fill in your gaps and see where they can help you improve, then yes. Online is a little hard. Like online lessons are, you have to hold yourself accountable. You got to make sure you sit down and do it. And
Right.
I'm not real good at that myself.
I'm not either. Let me go to let's go to Mr. Ted Fair. Mr. Fair, what do you think about that?
I think in this day and age, with everybody being busy, it's kind of hard to commit to show up at this time and this guitar instructor there. I think there has to be some kind of chemistry. If you go in there and the guy's wanting you to learn, Mary Had a Little Lamb or something like that, you want to rock out to some Metallica or something, you don't have that chemistry. But I actually use a guy, you guys have probably seen him. He's got a YouTube channel. His name is Mike Gross.
Yeah.
He's a local guy in Southern California, but this guy's our age, but he basically can listen to a song and tab it out. I mean,
wow.
When you were talking about Oz Fox, they were touring and they hadn't played some of their catalog from years ago, and they actually forgot how to play it. Wow. So they hired this guy, Mike Gross, and he basically tabbed everything out for him, and they were able to
save the day.
Get it. Save the day. But I like him personally because he'll teach you what you want to teach. You say, hey, I want to learn this song, or I don't know this solo, he'll just emphasize that. And it's not a one-on-one in person, but it could be online like a Skype lesson, or you just send like a Zelle payment and he'll send you all the custom video tablature with a YouTube video. So
that's awesome.
That for me is awesome, because you can find tab stuff online, but there's always that one song that's wrong or just bits and pieces. I think that guy's invaluable. So I guess it all depends. It's it's all relative to the instructor and your timing and everything. But that guy definitely comes in a pinch for me if I'm learning a new song and I can't figure it out, or there's no tab on it or transcription. So
awesome. That's very cool. Let me go to the German Butcher. What do you think, man? You think lessons are something you see in your future, or are you just happy where you're at? What do you think?
In my future, I took lessons for about 4 months when I was 19 years old. Man, his name was Bo Pryor, and of course, when I first went there, he tries to start you off doing the scales, melodeon, mixolydian scales, all this stuff. And I actually still have a notebook from when I was 19 years old with all this documentation. But about the third week, I just want to learn songs. I'm impatient. I want to learn the freaking songs.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm saying I want to learn 18 in Life. I want to learn Youth Gone Wild. I want to learn this Kiss song. I want to learn this. And I have he would write down tablature for me. he would sit there in the moment and pick these songs out and write it down in tablature, and I'd go home and I'd play it, even down to D from Randy Rhoads, the song D. Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Oh yeah,
oh yeah.
I have that in tablature. So I sit there and I would learn that. So that probably hindered me in a way. I jumped ahead. You know what I mean? I just jumped ahead. I want to learn the song. I don't want to learn how do you get to that point playing that song.
Yeah.
But where I am now, I mean, I have a pretty good ear. I'll pick something out. I'll find that note because the note is on the fretboard. It's there. You just have to find it, and put them together. So as far as learning more in the future from a teacher, not that I couldn't learn, but I don't think I have the patience. That's always been my problem.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, mine too. Let me move to Mr. Biter for his answer there. Mr. Biter, you're up. What do you think about lessons? Something you could still do now in the future, or are you happy where you're at?
Well, to me, my version of lessons is not something that you would think of as in a traditional sense. Mm-hmm. To me, a lesson is if I want to, like, maybe learn a riff or look at a particular technique by whoever guitar player is. Now that we have this beautiful thing called the internet, which has tons of useful information, but somehow yet makes people dumber than hell, is to me a lesson is it's like, okay, how is Jakey Lee doing this? So to me a lesson is I'll go watch him do it.
Right.
That to me that's a lesson. That's pretty much how everything that because the only physical guitar lessons that I've ever had in my life were back in the mid 80s in beginner 1 guitar class, learning G, C, F, just the basics, and that was it.
Right.
And from that point on is basically, and that was pre-internet. So I just, okay, this is what it sounds like. So that's how I'm going to play it. And whatever particular song that I was playing, I'd just learn it by ear, how it sounded to my ear. And then later on, it's like, oh, okay, it wasn't this chord. Maybe it was a flat fifth or
close
or something.
Enough,
and you make
close enough for rock and roll.
Because I was never the person to go, oh, I got to play it exactly the way that they did it. Hell no. I play it and I am going to make it mine.
There you go. I'm right there with you, my friend.
Because it's just because when I'm playing it, it's just an interpretation. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be George Lynch. I'm not trying to be Jakey Lee. I'm not trying to be Joe Satriani.
I
just want to play their music and, so
I
just want to have fun.
Even George Lynch doesn't play it the same way. You go listen to his live stuff versus on the album. It's worlds apart,
Yeah. Exactly. I remember when I went to see Van Halen, actually, when I saw them twice in my life. At least I got to see them. And I was that guitar nerd in the audience when it come time for the solo part of whatever song. And I was like, let's see if he does it. And for the most part, he was spot on, but there was always that little bit of improvisation.
It's his song. He can do what he wants, right?
Exactly.
Right.
But still, even when I'm covering like ZZ Top, LaGrange, or something like that, I hit the highlights, but I always throw my own little kind of taste in with it.
There's certain points in the song that everybody listens for, and if you hit that certain note here and there,
it's
relatable.
It can slide.
Yeah, you can let the rest slide.
Because I've seen a bunch of cover bands and all that through my life, and 85% of the guitar players do the same thing. They do the same, because I was my own worst enemy for years. I was like, oh my God, if you don't play it note for note, man, you just can't cut it. You're not good enough. And I would see guys play at open mics or whatever, and I was like, oh, and everybody went nuts. They was like, hey, and I was like, he didn't play it note for note, but it still sounded cool. It still sounded good.
Right.
And people went crazy. And I was like, well, okay, maybe you don't have to be like, and you don't. It just took me forever to get that through my head. And I want to get this comment right here. I thought it was very interesting. Set up by Marshall. He says, I watched 3 of my students perform on stage at an open mic Thursday. I lead by example. I take 2 lessons every year. Great subject. Everyone can learn something new. Absolutely. Yeah, you can always learn something new. And that is one good thing I can say about YouTube and the internet. There's been a bunch of stuff I have learned. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that's how you did that in that song. You know, it's like, I thought it was doing this, and I've been playing it like this for years, and I watched, and I was like, oops. But it still sounded the same. You know, I was like, okay. So
there's several ways to get around to do the same thing.
There's always more than one way.
Some of these
to get
notes
that
down
note
here, whether some of those same notes are up here. You know,
that's right.
Right.
That's right. William De Silva, he says, "What's up, dudes? Hey, man, how are you doing?
What's up, William?
How are you doing, sir?
Yeah,
Thank
I
you
mean,
being here.
for instance, one of my favorite Soundgarden songs is "Mailman," and of course they're doing a kind of a weirdish tuning and doing all these things. It's like, well, I don't want to have a guitar with that tuning, and I can't use it for anything else except for that song. So I just transcribed it in my head. It's like, okay, that's what it sounds like. So we're doing this, and it's okay. So we're going to do that here. So I just play the song. It's basically drop C,
Right.
instead of their tuning. It's C, G something, to where basically they just had the 5th and 6th strings tuned different, and then the rest of them just standard tuning.
Right.
And I was like, well, most
Joe's
of the time
the
I'm playing.
master at finding his way around that kind of thing. Because he'll send me audios. I just try to figure out the song. Of course, it's half a step down. I'm not going to tune my guitar half a step down, man.
I hate that.
And we'll find a way around it.
Right.
Yeah, man.
And there's always a way around it. Always. I mean, like I'm missing my index finger. I am the master of finding my way around.
That's right.
Chords, notes. I will find my way around only using these 3 fingers.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It's like Tony Iommi, missing a couple tips on the fingers, but that guy just rips through rips like nobody's business because he's just adapted.
Well, the thing about that's true. Yeah, that's true. The thing about the German butcher there is, he had an accident years ago, and he actually lost half of his index finger. He had to go back and relearn and teach himself just how to play. So, Ralph, can you touch on that? I don't think a lot of people are familiar with that story, man.
Oh my God. Well, at that point, okay, I lost my index finger on a bandsaw.
Ooh, Jesus.
Yeah, and I had it. I kind of leaned toward the drums at that point. I quit playing guitar. I said, fuck this nonsense. I can't play, so I'm gonna play drums. So I got pretty good at the drums. Well, then I married my second wife, and she was the backbone to me doing what I do now. The guitars you see hanging here, that's all her. She says, you can do it.
Wow.
After going through like 10 years of depression and not playing guitar at all, I can't do it.
Right.
I can't do it.
Damn.
So there were so many frustrating months, month after month after month. I would play. You get to a certain point. Well, my fingers can't stretch that far. I can't do this. I can't do that. So I put it down. I'm not going to let it beat me. I'm going to pick that guitar back up. I'm going to fucking figure this shit out. And over time, it's amazing. It's in your head because you remember how to do it. So you got to make it come out of these 3 fingers as opposed to having the captain that's missing, the index finger. Because I know all of y'all know that index finger is the leader of whatever the hell you're doing.
Sure is.
Right.
So then you do it with these 3 fingers, and it seems impossible, but it can be done. Now, granted, I can't play these full chords that take 4 fingers, but there's always ways around that. You can figure it out. If you listen, there's not a single song. Well, I can't say not a single song, but there's very few that you cannot replicate. And I do, and it's more satisfying to me now when I do a song than it was before. Now, granted, I can't do all the stuff people do. You say all over the fucking keyboard, but it's not about that.
Right.
It's about I try to make every note count. Every note every bend, every note has to make sense and count. It's not about how fast you can play. It's about the feel that you put into it.
That's right, man.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
There's your lesson for the evening.
Thank you for
Just
that
a
story,
testimony
man.
to the human spirit, man. That just no surrender. Keep going.
Yeah, that's one thing I can say about Ralph is like I said, I've known him since I was 10, and we got our guitars at the same year, and we just started messing with guitars at the same time, and he would, we didn't know what we were doing back then, but he would learn a little something.
We plugged our guitars into the stereo.
To the home stereo.
To the headphone jack.
Just to hear it go.
Do you understand what I'm telling you?
And we were like, oh, listen
jack.
to that buzzing. We got connection. We didn't know.
Yes. It was nonsense.
It sounded horrendous. But then Ralph found out a way to hit, remember that? You put a cassette tape in there and said, I can record us playing. And it was just a bunch of racket.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So here at work, I work with a lot of people with, finger amputations. So we actually have a product called Naked Prosthetics. It's basically just a custom-made fingertip that you can play the piano or chords. It's very intuitive and everything. So I wish I would have known you, Ralph, 10 years ago or 20 years. I'd probably send one of these things your way and you'd be like, oh shit, this thing works fine. I don't have to relearn anything. So, but it's pretty cool. Some of the technology in the medical field that comes out for people missing fingers these days.
Yeah.
I actually seen that on a YouTube video of a person. I think it was a female, and she had two of her fingers in the middle were somehow amputated, and she got some kind of extensions on, and she was able to play again. Now, of course, she still had to train herself because she couldn't feel, but she still was able to, over time, get her abilities back. And I thought about Ralph when I saw that. I was like, damn, I wonder if there's something.
That's cool, man.
Or if he'd be interested in that. I don't know. But I was like, man, there's got to be something they could he could use. But man, it's I enjoy that story, and I don't know if he's ever shared it here with everybody recently. But like I said, I remember we were playing, and I'd go to his house and we would jam and do some stuff, and then he'd be on the drums, or we would just play guitars together and all that. And then there was a long period there where we didn't communicate because he was going through some personal things, and I was worried. I was really worried. I was like, man, what? And I'd try to stop by his house, but whenever I did, nobody was there, and so I just kind of just said, well, he'll reach out to me when he's ready, and he did a few years ago. He did, and I was glad because it was we were each other's wingman for years.
Yep.
And then
That's awesome.
And then especially with guitars and music, and then we was able to start doing music again, and he would send me the videos of him playing with just the three fingers, and he told me, he said, try it one time, just use these three fingers. Man, I tried it. I was like, how the hell is he doing this? Because it was impossible. I mean, for me, I was like, God almighty, it just it was crazy.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You have to reprogram your brain.
Yeah, absolutely. I tried it just once, just to get a peek out the window, so to speak, of what he went through for so long, just to be able to do chords and stuff, power chords and stuff. Crazy. It's my son's in the chat there. What's up, Nathan? Let me see if I can get up to your comment. My computer's wanting to be silly here. Okay, we were talking about George Lynch and stuff like that a minute ago. He said, "Who's George Lynch?" I don't remember him in the Rolling Stone Top 250.
Right.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, that 250 was nonsense, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was rolling. If nobody's ever aren't familiar with what we're talking about, if you go back on this channel and go back to the I think we did a top 50 though, and
we didn't do the whole 250.
Yeah, Rolling Stone top 50. I think guitar players. You can go back and watch that, and
that was fun.
You will be amazed at their list and how they compiled it. Like, how did they do this?
Yeah,
it was fun.
It is so out of it. It doesn't make no sense. The great Vanzini. Hey man, haven't seen you in a long time. How are you doing, man? Yeah. Looks like a lot of the usual suspects. Hello at the Joe Wentz Project TV. How you doing, man? I haven't seen you in a long time. Hope you're doing well.
Watch GV's little reviews or demos that he does of all little instruments and all that. Yeah.
Very cool, man. Very cool. Mr. Himes, how are you, man? Thank you for being here. But yeah, I just wanted Ralph to share that story. I was just like, whew, damn. So
I can feel for you. I've had my I don't know how many times I've broken my fingers.
Oh my God.
You know, of course I do all these, you know, all my life I've done all these trades that are just horrendous for your hands. Like, yeah, I was a butcher for several years and stabbed and cut and smashed. And I mean, on this hand, I had my fingers broke, the bones broke in this direction, all the way down, just split all three bones in half. And there's nothing,
painful.
there's literally nothing that they can do. And you just kind of is like, okay.
oh my God.
Or, you know, being in construction, as I had this hand, my fingers, all of these 4 fingers busted when a steel beam smashed it. And so, you know, so it's like, yep, I could have picked better things to do if I really wanted to play the guitar, but.
Sure. Well, there you go. You said butcher. That's the reason I lost my finger.
Yeah.
Right? German butcher. It's very literal. I am German and I'm a butcher. It's not that I butcher Germans. That's not. So therefore, that's how I lost my finger.
Wow.
Being a butcher.
Man.
I did that. I was a butcher. I was a butcher as well. So there's 3 of us in here.
Oh wow, that's right. You were there for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a bandsaw go through the end of my thumb.
Oh God.
Yeah, I've done that too.
But it's nothing nothing compared to what you went through.
Oh my God. What year was that, Ralph? When that, do you remember the year? What year was
You know, it's funny how time gets skewed, right? I mean, I think, it was only 8 or 9 years ago. It must have been 17 or 18 years ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Wow. It's a long fucking time. Time goes by so quickly, right?
It does.
Yeah.
It does, man. It sure does. It's hard to believe that our kids are grown-ass adults and have kids of their own, you know, or most of them do, you know, and it's like, I'm like, damn. I was like, my son, he'll be 34 this year, and I was sitting there, and I tell him, just to put it in perspective so he'll understand it. I said, dude, do you realize I'll be married? I was married. Let's see, I was already married for like 10 years at your age now, and he's like, what? And I was like, yeah, you know, I would tell him that when he was a few years younger, but I said, just think about that for a minute, you know. Let's see. Set Up by Marshall chimes in. He says, my oldest student is 83 years old. My youngest is 11. That's awesome, man.
Wow.
That is incredible.
Yeah, both of those ranges are incredible.
That's awesome. I went to, you know, the local music store in town. There's a hardware store right beside it. I went up there today to try to get some help with something. And one of the older gentlemen that works in the music store was getting a Coke from the hardware store next door. I mean, they're all joined together. You just walk across and go into the door there. And actually, his name's Ralph. He was an older gentleman. He turned around and he remembered. He goes, "Hey there, young man." And I shook his hand. And I said, "Hey, how you doing?" But I remember, I don't know, sometime last year, not him, but another guy that works there was teaching a gentleman some just basic chords on acoustic. And I bet that gentleman had to been probably in his 80s, like Set Up by Marshall is saying. He had to been in his late 80s, but he was doing it, man. Wow. He was doing a G chord, a C chord, and he was just, you know, his coordination wasn't there, but he was getting the understanding of putting the pressure on the strings, and he was making it work. And I was like, wow, it's never too late to learn, you know.
If Marshall's still in the chat, it interests me to know what an 83-year-old all of a sudden says, I think I want to learn guitar. Is that a bucket list thing? Like jumping out of an airplane?
It could be, I guess. That's a good question.
At 83 years old, you think you've done it all. At that point, what the hell do you want to start playing guitar
I guess
for? Not that that's a bad thing.
No, he could be a widow and maybe, you know.
It's like, I think I want to be a neurosurgeon. Let me try that.
Man.
But
well, it's just like
chat, I hope he responds.
My mom is 74 years old, and she just started about a year ago playing the electric guitar.
Wow.
And she was just getting lessons at her church from some dude, and she approached me, and she was like, you know, they're just not playing the kind of music at the church.
I knew that's what you were going to say.
She's like, could you show me some Jimi Hendrix stuff? Or,
my God. That's amazing.
Because my mom grew up in the '60s, and she's picking up, and she's got some arthritis and obviously some age-related issues with that, man. But there's no quit in her, and I commend her for doing that, because I don't think when you hit your 70s and 80s and all that, man, it seems like things to start picking up is kind of a lot more difficult, So
right. That's awesome, man.
Well, we could do the old rugged cross in the style of Jimi Hendrix. All right. Far away.
Right.
Hey, man, it's possible with the guitar, isn't it? I'm telling you.
Right.
It's that's what I do love about the guitar, as opposed, and this is no slam if people play piano, but with the guitar, you're a little bit more flexible.
Yeah.
Piano, you're kind of stuck. You can't really, you can't really change the tuning. You can't.
Yeah, you can't. Do
slide
drop
up
D.
notes. You can't do vibrato. Yeah, you can't do none of that cool stuff. Nothing against it. It's just I don't know.
I have a question for you, Joe. Maybe you talked about this on a previous podcast, but with your son playing guitar, was that something that he picked up because he wanted to, or did you have a lot of inspiration with him wanting to get into it, or how did that all come about?
Yeah. Oh man. I remember trying to introduce it to him when he was probably about maybe, I don't know, maybe 11. I guess he was around between 10 and 12. He would come in there and see me playing and whatever, and I could tell he was not into it. He would just kind of be like, hey, it's time to eat or whatever, or hey, I'm playing this game here, and I was sitting there going, I'm trying my best to do something, and he would just like, okay, cool, and then a couple of years went by, and because I knew I didn't want to push it on him, because if he's not into it, he's not into it, and so a couple of years went by, and I reintroduced it again, and I said, look, I'll give you a guitar, if you want to learn something, and he did, and I showed him just a basic little blues pattern, just in E's, really simple that everybody knows. Because I remember that was one of the first things I was taught by my uncle. And Ralph, it was the same uncle that tuned our guitars on Christmas Eve when we got them.
Oh, yeah.
And, Uncle Buddy. And so I showed him that. And I said, if you can learn this, then we'll go to something else. And I said, just take your time with it. And, see if it feels comfortable to you. I said, just, it's going to kind of get to your fingertips a little bit. And I said, but if you can get past that, and then you got it licked, and that's where a lot of people will just quit. It hurts my fingers, and it's but he did. He stuck it out, and he stuck it out, and he kind of from there, honestly, he kind of just took the ball and ran with it. We were talking about discipline a minute ago. Ralph and I wasn't. All of us were talking about discipline with guitar lessons. He would sit on the edge of his bed or whatever with the tablature and the magazines, and back then you had. He grew up in the era where there were still VHS tapes, and of course then DVDs. He would watch all that stuff, and he would sit there and just meticulously go over something and go over it. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, there's no way I'd do that. I said, but that's what it takes if you want to learn.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it takes to get to that. Yeah. Right. That's what it takes to get to that level. And slowly over the years, I would hear him doing these little exercises, and I was like, holy shit. And it was just,
he's better than me.
I could see where he went, he just went right past me, and I was like, damn. And then I won't never forget when he was living here, because this is my second marriage, and he was living here, and I was I was in the bedroom, and he had this used to be his room, and I had the door open, and he was playing through he was just practicing, and I heard him go ding a ding a ding a dun 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 ding a ding a dun 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 dun. Carry On My Wayward Son by Kansas. Yep. He was doing the intro, and I for a split second I thought, is he got his MP3 player going or something?
Yeah,
and
radio.
It was spot on. And when I found out it was him, I walked in here and I said, stop. And he looked at me like, huh? Like, I guess he thought he's in trouble. I said, hold on a minute. I said, do that again. And he played it, and he did it like it was like you were just scratching your shoulder. It was like nothing, and he did it again. And I said, show me that. And he did, and he showed me. And I've learned a lot from my son with playing, because he takes the time he knows all of his modes. He knows all the, what do you call it? All the 5 positions. I don't
scales.
even know.
Yeah.
He knows all that shit.
Yeah.
And so
cool.
me, I don't. I just know a couple of places to go, and I try my best to improvise and say, okay, switch it up. Okay, go here, go back over here. And I don't know. I just have my own style, but everybody does. And but he kind of took the ball and ran with it, Mr. Ted, to answer your question. I showed him a couple of things in the beginning, and he just, he would sit there and learn it. And I was like, damn. And so it's
everybody's approach to guitar is different, Joe. Some
that's
people
cool.
sit there and do the work, every note over and over and over. Granted, repetition. If I cover a song like I do, it takes me 2 or 3 days, and I sit there for 4 or 5 hours every day playing the same thing over and over till I'm happy. And it's comfortable, like you say, Joe. Muscle memory is till it's muscle memory, But then I got to pick up the bass and do the same thing. There's another 3, 4, 5 hours. Then I got to do the drums. That's a whole nother thing. So, but it's very satisfying when it all comes together.
It sure
all comes together.
It sure
and then
is.
But then after you do all that, you've done shot video for rhythm guitar, lead guitar. Then you got the bass. Then you got the drums, or maybe keyboard. Sometimes I put keyboard in my song. But then you got 6 videos you got to piece together.
Edit all that together.
And delete this and move this over here. But when all that comes together,
it's a great feeling.
Finish it. It's like you took a big old shit.
It's a great trophy.
Yes.
It is a very satisfying feeling. And for those who don't know, the German Butcher, he on his videos he plays all the instruments and he puts it all together, and to me it's fantastic. I mean, I'm sitting here going, well, I'm playing along with a backing track, and the German Butcher is playing everything on his own, putting it on, and I was like, well, he just went just like my son did. See ya. I'm back in the dust going, well, it's good to see you. Come back again sometime. But I love to see that because that's progression, and
absolutely.
That's
I wouldn't be doing this, Joe, if it wasn't for you. I mean, I was sitting in my house just as happy playing with this little 8-track recorder I had with a disc, and then you say, well, you need to learn this. You need a DAW, you need an interface, and you introduced all that to me. So if you had not done that, I would still be here in my little house playing the music that I do and just, not being able to put it together the way you showed me how to do it.
Again,
that,
just like, well, I appreciate that. Again, but it's just like I said with my son. I introduced it to him, and he took it and ran with it. You did the same thing. I introduced you. I gave you I said, here's what you need, and then look what you did. You took it. And you ran with it, and now you're doing your own thing. So that's on you, man. I mean, you're the one that's accomplished that. Nobody can't take that away. I mean, holy crap, dude. So my hat's off to you. Big time. I'm really happy to see that you're back into the music thing and you're passionate about it, because that's the way it was when we were teenagers, and now you got that back. And that's because of your perseverance, Let's see. Man, I'm missing a few comments. Let me see. Set up by Marshall comments. He says, it's fun to see kids come back to a lesson who have spent time every single day playing their guitar. Yes. That's really cool, man. Mark Tanner says, is anybody going to play? Oh, Mr. Jimmy Biter played a little bit ago, Mr. Tanner. He played some awesome Dokken. That was really cool. It was
very good.
And it sounded incredible.
It did.
I've seen Jimmy's videos in the past where he nailed some covers of Joe Satriani, and I was just like, holy shit.
Satriani?
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Let's awesome. Let's hear that. It was incredible. Dokken was great.
That song, Theme for a Strange World, was so stinking hard to learn because there's atonalities. It's just like, but it was fun to learn how to play. I had to put some work into that song because that song is out there.
It showed because you nailed it. It showed. I was like, holy crap.
I'm surprised I even did it. I was like, Jesus, how the hell did I pull that out of my ass?
But it's a good feeling, though. It's like, hey, I can do something, that I set out to do. Set Up by Marshall says, it's fun to see a guy who is 83 come back to a lesson who has spent time playing every single day. One of the most rewarding feelings in life. I can only imagine, man. That's crazy. That's incredible. That's awesome. That is so cool, man.
I'll be playing when I'm 83.
I hope I see 83. So I hope. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I could not imagine music not being in my life or guitar. I couldn't imagine it not being there. I just couldn't. I think all of us can relate to that here on this panel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just, I was just like, what? And I don't mean this in a bad way, but I think about people that I see, and they go to work, they come home, they sit on the couch,
Yep,
and they go to bed, and then the weekend gets here, and they're sit on the porch, or they cut the grass. They come back home and they just sit around and watch TV and go to bed. And I'm like, wait a minute, don't you have something that you like to do? That I can't wrap my head around. I can't imagine not doing this.
a musician is a special breed, Joe. Very special.
Yeah,
breed.
it's just like, man, don't somebody have a hobby? I'm not saying a lot of people don't, but it's just some that I've seen that in my life a time or two here and there, and I was like, wow, they must have a boring life, or damn,
stamps.
just going to work and coming home, and I don't know. I try to make time to play, if not every day, at least every other day. If it's just for 15 minutes, I'll come in here and turn all my little stuff on and just play, just something. I'll get a couple of songs queued up here on the MP3 player and play them, because my goal is to be able to turn this thing on and pick a song and play it. And not sit there and go, how does this go again? I want to be able to know it. But it takes for me, it takes a lot of repetition on my part, because I don't know, man, driving a truck at all hours of the night like I do, it makes me freaking stupid. I can't remember nothing. Hey, there's Dylan. What's going on, Dylan? That's Ralph's son. What's going on, man? How are you doing?
Is he? What's he doing?
He says, do any of you have hobbies besides music? It's a good question. No, sir. For me, no. Music is it.
Crypto?
I draw.
Larry's crazy about crypto now.
It's crypto season right now.
How's that working out for you?
Well.
Yeah.
I got to say, when I was talking to Larry about it a little bit, I've invested a small portion, and it's growing. So I was like, wow. So, Sean Stackhouse, what's going on, man? How are you doing? Thank you for being here, man. So do any of y'all have hobbies besides music? Is there other things you like to do? I don't know, maybe working on cars or planting a garden. I don't know.
I don't buy new snowmobiles. I take old ones and fix them up and get them tuned to run top notch and do slight modifications to my old snowmobiles and my jet ski.
Nice.
So that's, but since there's not enough snow, I'm not snowmobiling. Damn you, God.
I'll be honest with you. I'm glad we don't have any. We've had a wet winter so far. It's nothing but rain. But as long as it rains, it keeps away the bad stuff. So I'll take it.
Jimmy.
Mother Nature's being a bitch, and
that
she didn't
guitar
want me to.
That a guitar behind you on my phone, it looks like it's fluorescent green. But on the
all
computer,
the way in the back.
Yes, that one right there. But it looks white. There.
Oh, he's got a black light, I think. Oh.
Yeah, is it a black light? What color is it actually?
So it's fluorescent yellow.
Oh, cool.
That's
awesome. That's even better.
That's a PV Tracer 2. And I didn't know that thing glowed in the dark until like several months ago when I put these lights up, and I was like, "What the hell?"
On my
that
phone,
thing
it's
glows.
fluorescent green. Yeah,
it looks awesome though, man.
Yeah, so that's why I kind of just
man.
I just put that right there, and
yeah.
It looks good, dude. That's a great decision. It looks awesome, I think. I think it looks good. Sean Stackhouse in the chat. Hey, man. Oh, okay. I didn't know this was the same person. Okay. I got you, man. I got it now. Thanks again for listening to my band's version of Miles Away by Winger. We appreciate you. Hey, man, thank you. Thanks for sending it to me. I covered Miles Away a little bit back. Again, I got the backing track from Karaoke Version. I thought it was really good. I thought their take on that was phenomenal. And so Sean heard that, and then he reached out to me through Facebook Messenger and said, would you listen to my band's version of that? And I said, sure. Now, granted, it took me a couple of weeks to get to it because I, especially lately with what's been happening with this past week, but I sat here last night and I was looking at my phone and I said, oh my God, I never listened to that track that Sean sent. And so I sat here in this very chair, Sean, in this very room, and I played it and I sit here and listened to it, and it was great. It was great. Especially the lead vocal was incredible. I was like, wow, that guy can sing. And it's really good, man. It's really, really good.
In hearing that.
I can send you the link. He sent it to me. It's a Dropbox link, I think. And if Sean says it's okay, but yeah, it was great, man. I thought it was really good.
That's a good song.
It is a good song. It's a great song.
Speaking of Winger, do you guys remember that song from Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, Battle Stations? You guys ever heard that song?
Yeah.
Oh man, that song is just mind blowing, man.
I actually had that soundtrack. I remember that Bill and Ted. I had that soundtrack on cassette. Believe it or not, yeah.
Winger, incredible band.
Oh my God! I'm gonna tell you what though. What's his name? He's looking rough nowadays. I sent that to Ralph a while back. I said, "Oh, Kip's kind of looking rough, man." He, and we all will eventually, but I don't know, man. I was like, "Damn, he's not what I imagined." But yeah. So Sean says,
the girls really were in. Oh, I'm sorry. The girls were really into Kip Winger back in the day, weren't they? He was kind of.
Yeah.
He's a pretty boy. Sure he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is Red Beach. You seen Red Beach lately?
Yeah.
Or Kip Winger for that matter.
Yeah.
Beavis and Butthead were really into Winger too.
Yeah, right.
I was like, that was so wrong. I was like, wow, that ruined that band. I was like, are you serious?
Have you guys
stupid
seen,
cartoon?
Have you guys seen Sebastian Bach from Skid Row? What he looks like?
He looks rough, man. He looks rough.
I was gonna bring his name up.
Yeah. I was like, it's odd you say that, Mr. Fair. There was somebody I went to school with, and they put a thing on Facebook, and it was rock and roll, people, the 80s era stuff, and it showed what they look like now, and then it goes back, it kind of morphs back to what they look like in their prime, and I was like, oh my God. And there was only a couple of those entertainers that still look okay today, and one of them was Steve Perry from Journey. He's still, for his age, he still looks great. And
it's probably because he got out of the music industry.
Yeah,
was able
probably so, man. Probably so. Yeah, he probably got off that road, and we all know they all partied a lot back then. And did stuff, and which is to be expected when you're in your early to mid 20s and living the life or whatever. But yeah, it's.
I'll just keep this brief. But I saw. The reason I mentioned Sebastian Bach is he was on a podcast with Steve-O from Jackass, and he was talking about back in the day, early 90s, Brad Pitt took Christine Applegate from Married with Children on a date to the MTV, and she went there with Brad Pitt, but she wound up leaving with Sebastian Bach at the end of the day. So, and then somebody had commented in True Rockstar forum, Brad Pitt looks like he's aged about 10 years, and Sebastian Bach looks like he's aged about 50 years.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Well, that's what you get when, but in my opinion, I'm not an expert, between somebody that takes care of their body and works out, and as opposed to somebody that's drinking and doing drugs and doing whatever, and it takes a toll on you after a while, man. That's why there's some people even people I went to school with, when Facebook came around, and you kind of even though you don't really talk to these people, it's just Facebook. I don't talk to none of these people. But I remember what they looked like then, and you see them now. Now most of the people are fine, but there's some that like look rough. And I was like, whoa, man, what the hell happened?
Like my ex-wife. She started out cute, and then I was like, holy shit, I dodged a bullet.
Dodged a bullet. Oh my goodness gracious alive.
Crazy.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's time can be kind or it can be cruel. It depends on how how it is in between when you how much you enjoy the ride, I guess. But,
Sebastian's still out there doing it, right?
Yep.
Yes.
I guess.
But shit.
Yeah.
Solo act now without Skid Row, obviously.
That's
Yeah,
Skid Row.
whatever happened with that whole deal? Was it something over money, or I guess why he got kicked out of Skid Row, and he never went back with them. I don't know if they just couldn't get along or if it was
He couldn't get
financial.
along. I guess he was just really, had a lot of substance abuse problems and they just didn't work, around with all his vices. So.
Wow. Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, Mark Tanner, Vince Neil. There are some hilarious videos.
Oh yeah, he says
of
just
Vince
ask
Neil.
Vince.
On
Vince
YouTube,
Neil?
where it's just like most of them are little shorts, but it's like you can't even understand what the hell he's saying.
They're great. They're great.
And I was just like laughing my ass off.
It sounds like he's saying,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody else that needs to stop singing, John Bon Jovi. Have you heard him lately?
Oh, yeah.
He's
No.
lost his edge a little bit.
And
But,
he was
I mean,
such a
but just
great
think of how
singer.
many times he's been saying, or how long he's been singing these songs, man.
Well, they get to a point where they're not singing anymore. They're
Yeah.
saying the words in
Yeah.
a rhythmic manner or something. I can't even explain how it is, but it's horrendous.
When he was doing Living on a Prayer, he was doing I saw it not long ago, a few days ago. It was on Facebook, I think. And he was doing the acoustic, time I used to work on that. But he was like you say, he was like speaking it in a weird way. And I was like, that's not how, okay, well,
No.
it's his song. You can do whatever. And he started adding these, hey, hold it there. I was like, whoa,
That's the
man.
difference between a guitar player, drummer, bass player, and a singer.
Yeah.
You play the guitar when you're 20 years old, and you play the same guitar when you're 60. The guitar is going to sound the same.
Pretty much, yeah. You might have
Your
more
vocal
accuracy with
cords
your
aren't.
notes, but yeah.
Well,
yeah,
depends on who you're talking about.
That's why I kind of give them a pass, man, because they've been singing them songs for so long. The vocal cords just don't. You can't push them too far; they won't last forever.
You have to realize when it's time to stop.
But I tell you, one person who still does incredible, and he's in his 70s. That's Sammy Hagar. He still does amazing, man.
Well,
he
sure,
can still
absolutely.
sing. He can still sing because he
There are
takes
some
care of his
people that
voice.
still sound great. Yeah, absolutely.
He sounds amazing. I was like, damn, what is he, like 76 or something? I was
You
like,
got Tom Kiefer reinvented himself. Like he ruined his voice in Cinderella.
Cinderella, yeah. He got
Right.
multiple surgeries, but he was able to come back, and
Yeah.
he still sounds great, I think. For that style of music, I think he sounds incredible.
Yeah,
I
I
always
like it.
loved Cinderella. I always liked them. Do y'all like Cinderella? I always thought they were great.
Absolutely.
I like him.
Okay.
Night Songs and Long Cold Winter, those just back to back.
Yeah,
Just
the
incredible.
first album, Night Songs, was amazing. I love that album, man. I remember when I got
What's
that
your favorite
cassette
song
album.
on that album? What's your favorite song? Somebody Save Me.
That quickly, huh?
Yeah, Somebody Save Me. That's my favorite. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's a great song. I actually got
Agreed.
the backing track on here. That's a great song, man. And the guy singing sounds just like Tom Kiefer did back in the 80s. I was like, where did they find this guy? But they can't find somebody to sound like Rick Springfield? Damn. Oh, my God, drunk cowboy. Oh, God. I was like, dude, get him out of here. Man. But, yeah, it was that guy sounded spot on. And I got, I love Cinderella, man. I got some of these old ones on here, man. Cinderella, even some Prince and stuff like that.
Or even the Pat's Dogs song. Remember that?
What's that now?
Cinderella? When they did Pat's Dogs.
Yeah. Oh, man.
It was funny.
I remember watching something about them. I went down a wormhole with them about it 2 years ago, just wondering what happened to them. And what was the guitarist's name? Jeff LaBar. I think that was the lead. I think
Yes.
I want to say he passed. I want to say that he
he did.
passed away. I think. And but they never reconnected. They all kind of went their separate ways, and because they just weren't selling records no more, like none of those bands were back then in this new generation, and they all just kind of did their thing. And I was watching some stuff on YouTube, and I was like, "Whoa, there's Jeff LaBar, man, the guitarist of Cinderella." Well, back then, but he was like doing something with another band. They was riding around in a van, and it was kind of sad, really. But I was like, "Damn, man." But former glory, I guess. It's just kind of wild how. Have any of y'all ever been to that? What's that? The big festival they have, Rocklahoma, I think. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Have any of y'all been to that ever?
Yep.
What was when did you go, and what was your thoughts about it?
Oh, it was the year that Chickenfoot was there, and they did the Highway Star, and that video is on YouTube.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I thought it was okay. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Oklahoma City, but
Right.
Yeah.
but I mean the venue. I mean, it was on par with, I used to go to Ozfest in Auburn, Washington for many years, because it was the closest one to me. I mean, it was on par with that. I mean,
Wow.
That was literally like about 10 minutes from where I grew up. There in Auburn.
Wow.
White River
Cool.
Theater. They used to
Yep.
call it,
Yep.
Yeah.
The first time I ever seen somebody crowd surfing in a wheelchair.
Oh my God. How does that work? Oh,
Yeah.
man.
And then it was the first time I saw Slipknot live, and I was like, okay, I'm going in, and there were, thousands of people, and all of a sudden, and it's dusty and it's hot and you're sweating, and then all of a sudden somebody turns around and they're covered in blood, and I'm like, yep, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm gone.
I'm out.
I'm gone. Yeah. Dude. Yeah, I never been to nothing like that. I just wondered, and it's kind of funny because it reality slaps me in the face when I see the audience. I'm like, yep, we're all about the same age. It's just that group, from the 80s when we were all young. And it's
and you see those women with us trying to still relive their 80s with the hairstyle
man, some of them cannot.
and the clothes they should not be wearing.
They should not be. Yeah, I was like, lady, come on, man. What are you doing?
Did you have to jump off a ladder to get into those pants, lady?
Yeah.
You man. And I'm like, come on now. But I remember back in the day when you go to a concert, holy moly!
Oh,
I was like,
the 80s were
You
the
just
best.
never know what you're going to get. I went and saw the Cult a while back and took my wife. And my wife's more into like pop music and top 40, but you never know what you get. I'm sitting there listening while she says some dude behind her is grabbing her ass. And the
what?
and it's,
Oh no!
yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah. You just never know, man.
Oh God! Yeah, man.
That ain't right.
That is crazy.
That's
That is crazy. I think the most messed up thing, when I was in high school, I went and seen Poison, and Tesla opened up for them. And they didn't come around at their original date because they had to reschedule because I remember they said Bret Michaels had bronchitis, so they had to kind of reschedule some shows. So they told everybody, just keep your tickets. They'll still be valid when you come back. So I guess they come back a few months later, and we went, and the girl I was dating then, we went, and we were sitting there. We had good seats, and we were like 8 rows from the stage, actually. So I got to see C.C. DeVille do those high squeal harmonics with the bar. He was really radical back then with that stuff. Plus, I didn't know he was high as hell on cocaine back then either. But so he was all over the place. But it made for a great show. But anyway, so we're sitting there and we're checking out the show. Tesla comes out. They were amazing. That was the first time I saw Tesla. I was like, who the hell is Tesla? And then when I saw them perform, I was like, I'm getting their album. I'm getting it. They were incredible.
And they still are incredible.
They still are incredible.
Still are.
And
I'm going to go see Tesla on the 23rd of this month, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I'd love to see them again. But they got off the stage and Poison comes out and they're doing their stuff, and they're about 3/4 of the way in, and there's these people in front of us, man, and you can see them get these flasks from out of their pocket, and they're sitting there drinking, and the guy, I don't know, he turns around and he looks at me and goes, "Yeah." Like that, and I was like, he is drunk off his ass, you know. But he gives me this look like, yeah, because I saw him drinking he tried to be secretive about it with the flask, and he goes like that, and I'm looking right at him, and he goes, yeah, like that. 5 minutes later, he's puking his guts out on the floor, and I thought, oh my God, and the smell that came up from I was like, come on, man, and that's what I never understood. You know, when you go to a concert, why do you want to get shit-faced, man? And you're not going to remember nothing. You paid all that money to go, or back then, and, you know, you're going to get like that and not remember nothing and have a bad headache the next day. I never got that. Maybe I'm alone in that, but I want to enjoy what was going on so I could, you know. But that's what I remember from that show. Like, thanks, dude. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank God they were about done. I looked at her, I said, we got to get out of here. I said, I can't handle this. And that dude had passed out. He was on the floor. I was like, ugh. Ryan, what's going on, man? How are you doing?
Ryan?
Some crazy stories from back in the day of seeing concerts. That was just one crazy one. All the other experiences were just normal. It was just, I was always watching the guitar player, you know, and seeing how they would do in a live situation, and you know, I was like, can they play it like they do on the record? You know, and they did. You know,
Tesla does. Tesla's killer, man. I've seen them 3 times, I think.
They're amazing.
Fantastic.
They're amazing. I love Tesla, man. I hate that it's not the original 2 Guitar Attack anymore. It's the one guy.
Frank Hannon.
He got booted out for I think substance abuse and that.
Yep. Tommy Skio.
Yeah, I hate that he's not in there no more. But anyway, they're still great.
Yep.
They still sound amazing. I really enjoy them, man. I'm glad those guys are still kicking. There's still a few bands out there that have their original name, but no original members.
Yeah.
Have y'all ever noticed that? I was like, how do you get away with that?
Right.
There you go. That was the one I was going to say. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Little River Band.
And I was like, how is that legally possible? I guess whoever owns the name, I guess. I don't know. But
How about the bands that still have all the original members? I want to say Night Ranger still does.
I want to say they do. Yeah. Man.
Well, they don't have not Brad Gillis, the other guitar player.
Yeah. The blonde-headed dude.
Yeah.
Did all the 8-finger.
Jeff Watson.
Yeah, he left a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's true. I forgot
I think
about that.
they've had a couple stand-ins. They had Joel Hoekstra.
Yeah.
Okay.
And couple
What was
others.
the guy that was the Carlos Cavaza? I think he was in there at one time.
Yep.
With Night
wow.
Ranger. Yeah, he was also with Quiet Riot back in the day.
Yep. I think isn't he doing the rat thing?
I want to say he is. Yeah, I want to say that's true. I have not kept up with that in a while, but yeah, I think you're correct.
Kind of funny how that all comes around is everybody, you know, especially like the guitar players, it's like, oh, I was in Rat and I was in Quiet Riot, and then they kind of found their spots and then come back decades later and now they're doing it again.
Right.
History repeats itself. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Hey, I bet they got some great stories to tell. Man, I don't have no kind of stories.
When Motley Crue came to Billings, Montana for the Dr. Feelgood tour, is my best friend's brother was the booking agent for the Metra in Billings, Montana, and we got backstage passes, and
wow.
Yep, that was a learning experience for Jim.
Wow.
I was like, okay, I guess they're not lying. This kind of stuff does happen backstage.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That is so crazy. All right.
Yeah, it was wild.
Well, gentlemen, we just hit the 2-hour mark, and that's about far as I like to take it is 2 hours, and because I got to get out of this chair. My back starts giving me problems. So I'd like to thank our panel of guests here. We'll go around the board real quick, give them a final thank you to Larry Riker. There he is, man. Thank you for being here, Larry. Thank you for doing the deal. Mr. Jimmy Biter, don't forget to check him tomorrow on 0812 YouTube channel, Ryan's channel there. I guess they're going to be playing some live tunes. And thank you, Jimmy, for playing tonight. That was awesome.
Yeah, I'll
appreciate that. It sounds amazing.
Well, if you keep having me back here, I'll work on getting stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I would love to have you back and play some more.
Get some other songs, and
we can do
my stuff dialed in, and
you take requests.
Yeah.
Well, within reason.
Because we'll see.
I'm not playing Rainbow Kitten Surprise, damn it.
And to the German Butcher, thanks, Ralph, for being here, man.
You're welcome.
Thank you for sharing your story. Appreciate that. I've heard it many times, but I find it interesting every time I hear it. And to Mr. Ted Fair. Ted, thank you for being here, man. Yeah. That is a beautiful guitar.
Yes, beautiful.
Thank you so much.
That is so beautiful, man.
That's
awesome.
That's the PV Wolfgang or HQ2.
Very, very gorgeous, man. Thank you so much. And to everybody else, my name's Joe. You're watching the Joe Wentz Project TV. Thank you for tuning in. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Give us a thumbs up if you can. If not, that's fine too. Until next time, we will see you later. Rock on, everybody. God bless.
Bye.
Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
She came in and sat down right in front of me. She picked up a glass of wine as I took